as we now jump into our final discussion for the day. And we want to actually touch on relationships and talk about the fallacies of extramarital affairs. Yes, we want to be talking about that now. And my guest here is Redempta Mwikali, who's an ambassador of hope.
Yes.
Karibu sana to the
Asante
show.
sana, Joyce.
All right, now you're actually a storyteller and you use stories to share not only your experiences but also those of other people, I guess, that you've come across.
Yes,
with.
yes, I do that.
Okay, and one of, I guess, the stories that you've been talking about a lot then is this one concerning extramarital affairs.
Yes.
Tell me about what sort of led you into this discussion.
Like you said, I talk about my own experiences, and so I was affected by extramarital affairs. I got married in the age where HIV was a big issue. So for me, it was different. It was a different game from what my parents had to deal with. And I used to work in the AIDS department. So I know the public health aspect of extramarital affairs.
Yeah.
Coming from a Christian background, believing if you do right, good things will happen to you.
Sure.
And then that doesn't happen.
Right.
And another season I worked with women who were in prison. And a big number of these women were affected by extramarital affairs or cheating, and they landed in prison. And they were the lucky ones.
How did they landed in prison maybe because of violence against
Yes,
a spouse or...
committing crimes of passion.
Okay.
There are very many young women who are doing time in prison because
of
they're
crimes of passion.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. And so then for you, you were in a marriage, there was an extramarital affair
Yes.
by you or your partner?
By my partner.
By your partner.
Yes.
And I guess then the biggest thing with this then is the process of discovering that there is an extramarital affair going on, and it can be absolutely heartbreaking.
Yes. Yes.
How did you deal with that level of emotion for you?
It is devastating. It is devastating because of the narratives that are out there. Depending on how you're socialized, the blame and the reason why I'm focusing when I talk about extramarital affairs, I want to look at why are we always talking about the other woman. We don't talk about the other men. Men also cheat.
Yeah.
Because the narrative from the beginning is if you're a good wife, you get a good husband.
Right.
And yet you have someone who's the propensity of cheating. And so it begins to
We all
affect,
do.
yes, it affects every other part of your life because people get married young,
Yeah.
people are discovering the world, people talk a lot about teenagers and middle-aged people who are midlife crisis. Very little is told about that middle part of life when you've just moved from being a teenager to a young adult and now you're finding yourself.
Yeah.
So people get lost because the conversations are still thou shalt not. Does it mean when people hear the rules, they will follow the rules? So you're lost for, I am faced with this. So I went through that in my 20s. And the reality was, it was a deal breaker. And we are living in an age where in Kenya, sadly, people are looking at marriages and looking at the deal breakers. And my message, why I say it's a message of hope, is because I look at reconciliation. I look at extramarital affairs are in the Bible. And someone was telling me, you're going to get in trouble with the Christians. You can't talk about it. God forbid, in Jesus' name, my marriage is going to... So people are used to just looking at the good stories in the Bible and covering up how much of extramarital affairs is in the Bible. From the story of Abraham, who had a deal with a wife, and then the deal went bad, and that woman was caught in the middle.
Yeah.
You look at polygamy in the Bible. You look at, when we talk about the story of Anna and Penina, we focus on the villain and the hero. And Anna becomes the hero then because she was being mistreated by her co-wife. So there are all these stories. You talk about Esther. People love the story of Esther. But look at the man Esther got married to. He was a violent man. He had killed a queen before. So it's the narratives that we've been told for so long that when the reality hits, we look for someone to blame. You will not blame the man you love for cheating on you.
Yeah.
You blame the devil.
The other woman.
You blame
And
the
the
other
devil.
woman. Yes.
Wow,
Yes,
very well
yes,
said, very well
yes,
said.
yes.
So then I guess in your process then of really working with women to build themselves up after extramarital affairs, and is that the goal? Is that what you say you're working towards, to build themselves back up after
There
extramarital
is
affairs?
life even after infidelity.
Yeah.
There is marriage after infidelity. But there's also the story of no love is worth dying for.
That's true.
And there's no love that is worth killing for. So that message then becomes, when you hype yourselves up, whether on social media and you hate on the other woman, they are in those conversations. They're having affairs with married men, but they're having the conversation with you because society And if there's one thing I'm proud of Kenyan men for, but also it's also a downside, is they tell us what we want to hear. Would you cheat on me? Of course he's going to say, I would never cheat on you. So cheaters are all over. And that's why when HIV became a reality, it was all over. And Joyce, my sadness is, if you go to the statistics right now of HIV infections, new infections, married women
It's
are
from
top
married wo- yeah.
on the list. Why are married people on top? Because they're also believing if they find someone is trying to use protection, that they go crazy.
Yeah.
Because you either stick to me or nothing. And that's what I'm saying. The message is extramarital affairs have existed for a lifetime. So why are we having deal breakers and now looking down on marriages and saying, I will never get married because... And I tell people...
But you're also not condoning this.
No.
Yeah, it's
no,
also not to condone extramarital
No,
affairs.
but I'm saying they exist. So we need coping. And why do we need coping mechanisms for them? Have a conversation about it.
Okay.
Someone told me, when you talk about extramarital affairs, you're going to upset the church people. They won't even entertain you. The women, like, that's why you're in trouble. Because the pastor's business is to keep society in check. They are morality police. So they'll tell you, thou shalt not.
Okay.
And then when everything gets broken, the ambassadors of hope step in. Say,
Yeah.
oh, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's go back to and you raised some very valid points. I want us to go back to what you said, because in many ways, even we as women are our own worst enemies, because like you said, we're always blaming the other woman, right?
Yes.
Meaning the fact that there is another woman out there means that there are women who are willing to cheat
Yes.
with someone else's husband.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we need to confront that too as women, so that it's not just us saying, men are dogs or men are cheaters or men are blah, blah, blah. It's also that we also need to be very frank with ourselves that why is it that today a woman is willing to be the other woman and almost unashamedly about it? Talk to me about that.
Well, there is this element of we are losing our moral decay. There's moral decay when right becomes wrong and wrong becomes right.
Yeah.
And does that happen? When then we get a space where we have radio stations that talk about people who cheat, and we have a whole morning of women saying, I also cheat. So right starts to look okay. Whereas, well, why are you the other woman? And so for me, in walking the journey, because I had to be realistic, I've dealt with young people who are born HIV positive, and nobody's having a conversation with them, and they're also having multiple partners. So are we having the conversation of what are the circumstances? Because my approach, I've written a whole book about this, and so I did a lot of research. I looked at my own life. What would I have wanted to be told 20 years ago
What
that
are
no
some of
one
those
told
things?
you? Some of the things no one told me is that there are men who don't cheat.
That's right.
They are there. They exist. So the other guys, I put them in 7 categories.
Yeah.
Everybody else who is not cheating is in this category. And in this category, I also looked at the women they cheat with. So that we don't just say the other woman is a homewrecker. There's the other woman who was not meant to be a homewrecker. You walked out of your marriage, for example. You're legally married. Things got so tough, you walked away. And you were gone for 2 years. What do you think was going to happen in those 2 years? So you get the other woman who came and found a space.
Yeah.
And then you reconcile.
Especially when you also consider the way men are wired and the way women are wired as far as responsibilities in a home.
Yes.
So
yes.
if just the way life is, if a need is not being met, something will find its way there as a
Yes,
solution
yes.
to whatever is the alleged
Yes.
problem.
So for me, the conversation I'm having with everyone is, for one, men are not baggage to be stolen. We can't keep saying my husband was stolen.
I
He's
like
not.
that.
It's not lost luggage.
Men are not baggage to be
Be
stolen.
stolen.
Okay.
Chunga mizigo yako, Joyce. You know, really.
Yeah.
You'll be walking around with your husband like you walk around with baggage at the airport or in the bus.
Yeah.
So men are not baggage to be stolen. So let's
Okay.
first scrap that.
Okay.
Men are not baggage to be. And then let's not burden women with, if you don't do 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
then your husband will cheat.
Yeah.
Why are we saying we have to give? It's like classical conditioning where you give a dog something so that something
Yeah.
happens. It's like, be nice to your man. He should be nice to you. Why aren't we teaching men also
Sure.
what the values men need to have to value the women, because they will change.
Yeah.
They were this skinny, then they got you babies. Babies are so cute. The shape got finished. So why are we encouraging saying women don't jiachilia? Why aren't we telling men a child
Hata
just
wewe
came?
usijiachilie.
Yeah, and a child just came out of.
Hicho kitambi hatutaki. But anyway.
Yes.
Right.
So mostly the conversations we are having, the
Okay.
tolerance you're saying, why are we tolerating it? When social media people talk about, oh, I'm the other woman, and it looks like it's glamorous.
Yeah.
It is not.
Even the whole sponsor culture to me is just a
Yes,
reflection of that.
yes,
But
yes.
then, so where do we go from here? understanding that we are in an age where there is a lot of this degradation. I mean, the fact that, a 20-year-old can proudly walk around with someone who is basically her dad, and call him my boyfriend or my blah, blah, blah. How do we move in the face of the moral decay that we are seeing? What do we do now, considering extramarital affairs, as you've said, is a problem that is centuries old? What do we do today?
We go back to the value of why is family important. Because when we look even at the region, Kenyans are ahead. We've empowered the girl child.
Yeah.
And so the girl child is beginning to say, I don't need a man. Yeah, so that's why there'll be an increase of extramarital affairs, because you don't want to get married, you get lonely.
Okay.
You're getting older. So we go back to saying, why was family important?
All right.
It played a role, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Redemptor, for
Yes.
coming on to the show today.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's been of encouragement to many others who perhaps have been in the same situation or are currently battling that fire right now.
Yes, yes.
And I understand you have a book. Very quickly, you can tell us how people can get in touch with you, how they can get also your books as well.
Yes, I am a writer, an author, and I've done my own story.
Okay.
And my own story is Did I Order This? The
Okay.
bad things that happen in marriage.
Nice
And then
title.
I have the ABCDs of the other woman.
Okay.
Yes.
How do people get those books?
The books will be out because I'm launching this coming Thursday.
Okay.
And you can reach me on Redemptor_Touch, Redemptor's Touch.
Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations
My
on
pen,
the
thank
upcoming
you.
book launch.
Thank
Those
you.
titles sound very juicy. I like it. Well, guys, my time is up. I do need to go. Thank you so much, though, to all of you who've been a part of the show. Thank you to my guests. I think we've had some fantastic conversations today. And let's do this again tomorrow. Until then, thank you as well to my crew, all my camera people, and the technical team downstairs, our director and producer for the day. We do appreciate you as well. Until then, God bless you. I'll see you soon.